That's the gimmick. I haven't made a video in a while, so I'm going to do a fragrance review, house review about what's been getting a ton of hype the past couple of 2, 3 months, I think. If you're into fragrances, you've probably heard about them Dua fragrances, and especially, the Mobster, I think, has been getting a lot of hype. So, I feel like I haven't seen this much hype about anything fragrance related since Aventus or something like that. But, yeah, there's been a lot of hype about this house and a lot of drama, so I'm gonna give my 2 cents on that. Let me just say, I did not receive a free bottle like a lot of other people did, so I don't have any incentive or bias towards anybody, right? I did talk to the guy. He did seem nice, but like I said, I didn't get a free bottle or anything, so that won't be affecting this review or my 2 cents. But let me just get into like the drama about everything that's been going on, like my 2 cents. One, some people have been saying that they think the bottles are shitty, or tacky. To be honest, if you're into fragrances, if you see a lot of indie brands, a lot of the bottles are kind of tacky and not that good looking. So I don't think that's a very good argument to hate them. Um, if anything, I've said it before, I think a lot of like expensive bottles are pretty tacky looking. I know a lot of people loved those by Killian bottles when they first came out years and years ago, the coffins. I think the coffin is actually extremely tacky myself. I don't think it looks cool at all. I do think that the travel atomizers that they have are very slick and really cool looking though. And I did like the when intoxicated and light my fire came out, those cigar kind of boxes they came in were cool. But I would never pay $100 extra just to get like a cool bottle. And like I said, if anything, I thought the coffins were extremely tacky myself. So yeah, I think that's a stupid argument for people that want to hate on them. For the argument about them being clones, I guess if you think about it, there's a lot of sort of clones of fragrances, and I haven't smelled all their clones, so I can't tell if it's a better clone or not. You know what I mean? But some people had the argument that it was like a good value, though. But if you look at the price per milliliter, it's not really that good of a value unless it's an amazing clone. Do you know what I mean? Because yeah, it's only $45, but it's also 30 ml, so think about it, right? So. I feel like a lot of the drama has been just because people don't like to see someone doing better than they are, right? Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's why they get a lot of hate. But I do think some of the hate is justified. If you look at a lot of the reviews, again, a lot of the reviewers have apparently gotten free bottles, which could or could not be shady, depending on how much you morally trust the reviewer. And The reviews online, though, there have been a lot of shady reviews, and I am of the opinion, as some other people are, that a lot of the reviews are fake. If you look at the reviews, there's people that they've only reviews Dua fragrances, and I think that is very shady sounding. So if that's your argument for hating them, I think that's a justified argument, right? And besides that, though, there's been some sort of suspect bottles, basically, that have been given to people. And I will say that I tried the Mobster, and I am one of those people that unfortunately got kind of a suspect a batch variation. I don't know. There's Creed batch variations people talk about, which I do agree to exist, and now there's dual batch variations. Anyway, so thank God for them that I'm not doing a first impression because my first impression of the Mobster is very, very bad, right? So I got the Mobster and I sprayed it on, and it was just like it was like a fizz, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I've gotten some weird, I've been into fragrances a long time, right? Do you know what I mean? And I've definitely gotten some things, bottles that were messed up, or like the juice was messed up, let's say. Do you know what I mean? I've got some juice that basically came out like syrup. It was pouring out. I was like, dude, this was obviously fucked up, I think. But anyway, I don't think I've ever had a bottle that's come out like basically like a bath foam or something like that. And I can show you a picture because it's happened multiple times. And I don't know what that was, but I was like, okay, right? I'm like, what the fuck? And I couldn't really smell anything. You could smell something and then boom, it was gone. And I'm like, what is going on, right? Like I'm drenching my arm, and not only am I drenching my arm, it's leaving a foamy, bubbly jizz spot on my arm. I don't know if you want to call it like that. That's probably sounds bad, right? And I'm like, so it's not like I'm not spraying anything on, right? And I'm like, what's going on? Like I can smell it for like a few seconds, and then this is like a aftershave or a deodorant strength, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm like, dude, this is really bad, right? So I started like, I got to investigate. I'm going to post about this and see if anyone else says this. And so then basically, some people started messaging me, and they're like, yeah, I didn't want to post this either, but this happened to me as well because I talked to the guy and he was nice, so I don't want to like say anything bad about him. And I was like, and I should say, I talked to the guy as well, and he was nice. So I don't have any ill will towards him. He was nice when I talked to him. So I'm like, well, what's going on, right? So, and then like other people were like, yeah, I got something was wrong with my bottle as well, right? And so then basically it comes out, well, it sounds like the dude is very busy. Obviously, he's getting a lot of hype very fast. And it sounds like, I don't know how you make fragrances, right? I can just say that I've smelled and I've worn hundreds and hundreds of different fragrances, right? But I guess when you make fragrances, you got to age them, right? You got to let them sit and actually mix, right? And I can only assume the dude was so busy and, he's just, things are so popular. He's throwing out some bottles and he has not let them mix or age correctly, right? So basically, like, I'm getting like a response from people like, oh, you need to like not wear it for a while. You need to like let it sit for a week or two. Like, why is there a rule to how I'm supposed to wear something? Like, shouldn't I feel like that's kind of like unprofessional to like be sent something that is not exactly finished, right? Do you know what I mean? So, and I looked this up, and I guess like yeah, it does. I looked it up online, like how do I make fragrances? Do you know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, you have to like let it actually age for a while. So I'm like, okay, well, I told the guy I'm not gonna give a review yet. I'm gonna like put it in my basement. I'm gonna like put it in a little corner all by itself and let it age, I guess, for a week. And I can say after letting it age for a week, I guess, I could smell it and it did work. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, smell wise, I'll say, you know what, honestly, dude, it smells good, if not great. It smells very good, actually. The Mobster, this is. But I will say, projection wise, though, I didn't find it to be a projection beast, and it's still it's drenching my arm. It's leaving a foam, which is, I think, weird. Like again, maybe I got a fucked up bottle. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But it's drenching my arm. I'm spraying a lot, dude. Do you know what I mean? And I wore, just say something like Montal's Sweet Vanilla recently. Vanilla. Is it Sweet Vanilla or Sweet Vanilla? Whatever. It just came out recently. I just put one spray, small spray. I could get whiffs of that all day long. Very strong. This I drenched my arm, and not that it didn't last, but it was not very strong. Do you know what I mean? Like I see reviewers being like spraying there. I'm like, whoa, dude, it's like filling up the room. It's amazing, dude, right? I'm like spraying it, and I'm like, I can smell it, but it's not a beast mode, dude. Do you know what I mean? Great smell, okay? Do you know what I mean? I'm not. The smell is good. There's no problem with the smell. It smells good, but beast mode smell, and it wasn't though. Do you know? It was not beast mode. And the thing for me is personally, I can say in my experiences with fragrances, even a lot of fragrances that people have performance issues on, they say it doesn't last. Generally, for me, I don't have a problem with fragrances lasting on my skin. Generally speaking, they tend to last pretty well on me. It's just whether or not they perform well projection wise. I've said it before. I've worn many fragrances and people say they can't smell it, and I can still smell it on me. You know what I mean? Maybe I can pick it up easier, but you know what I mean? So the argument there would be that since a lot of the fragrances from Dua are supposedly clones, and I haven't smelled them all, so I'm not gonna act like I haven't. And I originally wanted to smell a lot of them. The idea is the selling point of Dua would be that you're getting a designer or a niche fragrance, whatever fragrance they're copying supposedly, but this is a super strong version of it, right? Do you know what I mean? And so, in my experience, the one fragrance I've tried from them is just a regular fragrance for me, even though it's supposedly 50% concentrated, whatever I think they say it is. And I know some people are talking about, talking shit about them and how they supposedly use natural ingredients and all this kind of crap, which I agree is also totally over my head. I don't know why that's a selling point. It sounds suspicious and weird to me. But the most important thing is smell, right? And the performance. So, and like I said, and Mobster smell wise, it does great. And, it's not that it doesn't last, because it does. And it just wasn't powerful like I was expecting. So if you're talking about me as a consumer, do I want to try all these like clones now? Now after smelling the Mobster and knowing that I got kind of a suspect bottle, I don't feel the desire to really try the clones anymore because, again, I don't have a lot of longevity issues with fragrances in the first place. It's the projection is more so the problem. So it's kind of turned me off a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like I don't know if I feel the need to smell a clone. Like I can smell like I like spending my money on samples. I'd rather spend my money or whatever I'm getting on something brand new. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Rather than a clone. And if it is a clone, I hope my computer just didn't freeze. I think it did. Did am I alive? Okay. And if it is a clone, you know what? Maybe it's a better smelling clone. I can't say. And if it was a better smelling clone, I would tell you. Do you know what I mean? Like I think if a good smell is a good smell, and a better smell of a good smell is a better smell of a good smell, right? But I just don't feel the desire to try a lot of the clones anymore after this. Um, as for the Mobster, would I get like would I get the Mobster full bottle, whatever? Um, you know what? I think that would be the only thing I probably would try because I feel, like I said, I feel a little unsafe trying their fragrances now because of what happened. It feels like a little, it's a little shady, right? To me at least. And like I said, maybe I'll try the Mobster again. But it was I feel a little irked about it, I guess. Do you know what I mean? But if you get a good bottle of it though, dude, like if yours was actually made and aged properly, and like I said, I'm sure the guy's very busy. It sounds like he's a one-man team or something basically, and he's just throwing out bottles. Do you know what I mean? Like so, I guess there's some duds out there, but and I guess talking to other people too, they had said that they'd gotten some duds of other fragrances. But you know what I mean? If you get a good bottle though, and you're probably set. For me personally, I think my bottle is a little suspect, but smell wise, the Mobster it smells great. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna complain about that. It's hard for me to justify ever trying anything else from them because I feel iffy about it. But would I try the Mobster again? Yeah, yeah, I would. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a good smell, and I would hope to get a better bottle, but I only have so much of a disposable income to take so many other like blind shots in the dark, I guess, as me as a consumer, you know what I mean? So that's kind of my review and that's my opinion. I don't know. Probably this is probably the most negative review they've gotten so far, do you know what I mean? But I can only review with what I received, okay? And thank God I didn't review them thank God I didn't give them a first impression because that would have been really bad, right? But yeah. That's my fragrance review, guys. Thanks for watching. Yeah.